Sorry about that. So because there's only one 3, I know the denominator is a single 3. The radian in that quadrant, that is over 3, is 5 pi over 3. You're welcome to write it as negative pi over 3, but because it's not the final answer, I don't have to do that. I'm going to take the answer to that part and plug it in to the second step, sine of, and again, I can just leave it as 5 pi over 3. Maybe you need to draw in a unit circle, maybe you don't. I mean, this is drawn a little more to scale. The sine value, the y value right there, is negative root 3 over 2. That's the answer to the entire question. Notice if it starts with a trig function, the answer is a value. Pause the video and try number 6. Start with the insides, sine of 7 pi over 6. No shading because it is not arc sine, it's just sine. So there's 7 pi over 6. The sine value there is negative 1/2 because it's the y value. Arc cosine of negative 1/2. Arc cosine has shading, can't be down here. Negative 1/2 for cosine, which is the x value, pretty close to the y-axis. That is 2 pi over 3. I don't have to go through the shaded area. The answer to the problem is 2 pi over 3. Notice if it starts with arc, the answer is a radian. Next page. The ones with x in them. Pause it and try it and see how you do. Start with the inside. That'll give you the picture. Right triangle. Almost always in quadrant 1, so always facing this direction. Right triangle, it's fine. Cotangent. So tangent is O over A, so this must be A over O. So A is x plus 1. O is 5y. Careful Pythagorean theorem to find the missing sides. The hypotenuse is C. C squared equals, hypotenuse squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. You don't need to square it if it's got a plus or minus in the middle. You do need to square it if it's a number with a variable and no addition. So I can leave this alone, but I need you to square the 5 and the y. Square root both sides. Instead of a c, I'm going to write the square root of x plus 1 squared plus 25y squared. It doesn't matter if you wrote the 25y squared first or the x plus 1 squared first, but better say addition in the middle of that. Now I'm taking the sine of the picture. We give you answer blanks on test day. Feel free to just use that answer blank as the division bar. So sine is O over H. Nothing reduces. Make sure your square root covers the entire denominator. This is the answer. Pause it and try the next one. The inside gives me the picture. Cosine, A over H. Now I'm missing side B or A, it doesn't matter. What matters is the hypotenuse squared is how Pythagorean theorem starts. Then it equals the sum of the other two squares. You don't have to square if there's a plus or a minus sign. You do have to square 3y, which is 9y squared. To get B alone, I'm going to need to minus. So sometimes you can skip this and you can just figure out the answer. It's hypotenuse minus leg squared and then the square root. So the missing side is the square root of the hypotenuse squared minus the other leg squared. Now I do cosecant of that picture. Cosecant is 1 over sine. Sine is O over H, so this must be H over O. Here's the answer bar. Feel free to use it as your division symbol. H over O. Nothing simplifies. Make sure your square root covers everything. Make sure you squared the 3 and the y. This is what your answer should look like. Practice these. It was only worth 8 points on the test, so it was real easy to drop down real quick by making tiny mistakes.